Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Twitter feud between Jeffree Star and DANI MANSUTTI. I'm going to put the timeline together for those who weren't able to catch the tweets while everything was going down, as the majority have been deleted by both parties, followed by my thoughts and opinions, so let's jump right into it. Before we begin, I just want to apologize in advance as the screenshots are kind of mismatched. I feel like everything went down so quickly and I was screenshotting from my phone and my desktop trying to line everything up, so again, I do apologize if it's not the most aesthetically pleasing video, but hopefully the timeline flows and it's easy for you guys to follow. So starting off on April 21st, DANI expressed her thoughts about weed in a series of tweets which have now been deleted from her timeline. She began by saying, I know it's legal in some parts of the US, but I feel a bit uncomfortable seeing influencers promoting weed and being stoned all over my feed. Just seems so wrong to me. It makes me feel so weird knowing how young some of their audience will be. Followed by different cultures, I suppose. I've grown up in a world where that is not something to promote and be proud of at all. Maybe it's just different in the US. She obviously faced some backlash from her audience, following which she went on to clarify her position by tweeting, "This isn't intended to be a discussion about whether the drug itself is good or bad. All I'm saying is that seeing US influencers promote it is what makes me feel uncomfortable. Hope that makes sense, just some thoughts I had. We can agree to disagree on the whole weed tweet, everyone. It's not about weed versus alcohol. It's about influencers promoting in brackets for what us here is an illegal substance to their followers. That's it. Sorry if I've offended anyone, it just doesn't sit well with me." In reference to influencers living in the US where in some parts weed is legal, she says, "They're obviously living in a different culture than I am and it's totally normal for them, which is totally fine and totally legal for them. I just hope you understand my point of view if a young follower not from the US is influenced to try it even though it's illegal for them." Seemingly out of nowhere, Jeffree chimes in and quote tweets DANI's original tweet saying, "My grandma wanted to tell you something. Shut the fuck up." This tweet was deleted by Jeffree within minutes and replaced with, "At DANI MANSUTTI yesterday at Pleasant Blvd and I posted on social media smoking. Him and I have never suggested that anyone follow in our footsteps or smoke. We are just living our lives authentically. Sorry your country is far behind. We can't relate." In addition to the aforementioned tweet, he also responded to DANI's original tweet saying, "You abused your dog and are a piece of shit, so anything you say is automatically invalid." Naomi replies in the thread saying, "I love you both, but why do you have to be so rude?" Jeffree replies to Naomi in this now deleted tweet saying, "She left her dog in the dark for hours and there's proof of her abusing it. If you stand by that, you're a piece of shit too." Jeffree then quote tweets DANI's original tweet saying, "So people shouldn't live their lives because you don't agree with it? Imagine being that ignorant." So for the record, that's one deleted tweet followed by a replacement, followed by a response, followed by a quote tweet, all on the same original tweet of DANI's and all before she's even responded to anything. At this point, Messy Monday, which is a tea-spilling Twitter account, posts a screenshot of DANI's original tweet and Jeffree's response saying that she abused her dog along with the following caption, "LOL at Jeffree Star had time today, ... he wasn't feeling DANI MANSUTTI." DANI then quote tweets Messy Monday's tweet saying, "In all honesty, I was starting to see a good side of Jeffree recently and started to admire his products, but this is really mean, unnecessary, and I don't understand why he's chosen to take it as a personal attack. I'm really disappointed that this sort of behavior is quote-unquote okay." DANI then quote tweets Jeffree's tweet where he indicates that both him and Bretman Rock have never suggested that anyone follow in their footsteps, saying, "That's completely fine. I don't personally follow you, so I'm sorry. I didn't actually see you post about it at all. I've just grown up in a country and culture where it's seen as a very different thing. However, I am quite hurt by your other tweets personally attacking me." In response to Jeffree's tweet where he indicates that she abused her dog, DANI quote tweets his tweet and says, "I don't think talking about people like this is okay. I'm sorry that you have taken it personally, but I promise my initial tweet had nothing to do with you. I just find these words very nasty and unnecessary. It's really hurtful to be honest, especially when it's not true." Jeffree quote tweets DANI's tweet where she says she was starting to see a good side of Jeffree saying, "But you just said you didn't follow me, so the hypocrisy on this one is a whole new level. You are an animal abuser and should be removed from social media. Anyone can Google what you did to your dog. Next." DANI quote tweets Jeffree's tweet and says, "Almost 2 years ago I was told by a puppy trainer to give her her own ventilated room to sleep in, which I did, and was told online that it wasn't okay, so I rectified it immediately and allowed her to sleep in my room there onwards. That's what happened." Jeffree responds to DANI's tweet saying, "No, you were caught and tried to make excuses for your piece of shit behavior. Your country should ban you from ever being around animals. The video I saw of you forgetting your dog was in a dark room still haunts me. Dani responds attaching a link to the video she made addressing the issue. She said, "Watch this for context. It's from 2 years ago and it's so unfortunate and unnecessary that he has chosen to bring up a lie which a drama channel started. I'm currently sitting in the couch with my happy and loved pug on my lap. This is all so stupid." I'll leave the link to the video in the description box below for those interested. Anyway, Dani quote tweets Jeffree's tweet saying, "This is becoming so exaggerated, so false, and so ridiculous that I won't be responding to any more tweets about this. My initial tweet wasn't about Jeffree. I'm not going to sink down to his level and bring up these things about his past either because it's unnecessary." Jeffree responds saying, "Really? Trying to deflect on my past? That's your educated response? I said some ignorant shit 12 years ago. You, on the other hand, forgot to give your dog food and water and left it in the dark for 12 hours. Jeffree goes on to tweet, "Some people really have no fucking common sense. It's scary." Jeffree then responds to one of Dani's tweets saying, "Oh, but you were starting to see a good side of me recently, but you don't follow me? Got it. You are the definition of a dumb bitch." Dani responds to Jeffree saying, "I'm a huge fan of Christmas cookie and wear it all the time. I love the formula and was thinking about making an order to try some more shades from your cosmetics. And you're a very successful person, so I see you and your products on all other platforms. That's what I mean by starting to see a good side. I see you in videos from other influencers I follow. But seeing you call me a dumb bitch along with other accusations over a tweet which was never initially about you has really hurt me and understandably changed my view on everything." I believe that was the end of their Twitter exchange. However, there were some other random tweets between Jeffree and his followers, such as this, which was sent to me, so again I apologize for the quality of the screenshot, but Kiki says in response to someone else, "I agree with you, I don't care, don't at me people, I like Jeffree too, but it really wasn't that deep for him to respond like that. People can have different opinions and be respectful," shaking my head. Jeffree responds saying it's called sarcasm, not that deep, ... "Couldn't give a fuck about that girl or you, so log off and go play outside where you aren't so offended, LOL. Then there was Sinead who said, "Fucking hell Jeffree, it's just an opinion, and mainly she is right, even though I love the both of you." Jeffree responds saying, "Why are you cussing at me? Maybe you are the one who needs to relax, ha ha ha." Interestingly, another beauty influencer weighed in on the situation, and that was Thomas Halbert. These tweets were deleted in literal milliseconds, okay? Thomas is the king of tweeting and deleting. Anyway, he says, "Do you know how many scientifically proven medical benefits marijuana and CBD has? Do you complain about people who promote alcohol use to their audience when alcohol kills hundreds of thousands of people yearly? I don't know, I guess long story short, how's that dog you abuse?" He then went on to link Dani's tweet. Thomas followed that tweet with, "Sis blocked me fast as fuck. People who complain about weed should probably focus on the sticks they have up their ass rather than what other people do with their free time. Stay medicated, shisters." Okay, so let's briefly touch on the dog incident. Admittedly, I don't and haven't followed Dani closely at all, but my understanding without digging into the ins and outs of the story is that approximately 2 years ago, Dani had a puppy that she allegedly left in a dark room with soiled puppy pads and no food or water for 12 hours. As Jeffree indicated, there is a video of the conditions of the room in which she left the dog floating around the internet. When asked about the dog incident, Dani told me that initially she was advised by her puppy trainer to give Beans, which is her dog, her own space in a ventilated room so that she would learn independence. Once Dani vlogged saying a lot of people were offended and upset by that as she would go to the toilet in the room, so she quickly rectified the situation, and from then on, being 2 years ago, her dog has slept with her in her room. According to Dani, it was a drama channel who turned the situation into a story that she quote-unquote abused animals, which broke her heart because she says her dog is family to her and she would never hurt her. As I mentioned earlier, Dani addressed the issue in a video which I will link below for those interested. Again, I do not know the ins and the outs of the situation, and by no means am I defending Dani with respect to that incident. I just wanted to share some insight as to where Jeffree and Thomas's alleged animal abuse claims came from for those of you who have absolutely no idea how this began. For the record, would I leave my dog in those conditions even if Cesar Millan told me to do so? Fuck no. Now, in regards to Dani's tweet with respect to weed, this is what she told me. "My initial tweet about weed came from a place where I've grown up in England and Australia, where weed is an illegal drug and a very taboo subject, so in my eyes, to see celebrities and influencers post photos promoting weed, I felt very strange about it, in brackets, knowing they will have young impressionable audiences who are not from the US where weed is legal. I just wouldn't want a 12-year-old girl from England to do it because an influencer she admires says it's cool, only for her to end up in legal trouble. But he's just started a nasty personal attack and it's really unfair and unnecessary. It wasn't even about him, as I don't follow him and I don't see his posts." Okay, so I don't know how it is in England or Australia, but going by some of the DMs I've received, it does seem as though the stigma is very different in those countries compared to the US. I can understand how it could be a total culture shock to see weed being used so openly and freely to someone who comes from a place where weed is frowned upon and still very much an illegal substance. I personally would be shocked to see something normalized in other countries that's illegal in my country. For instance, for me it's shocking to see regular citizens walking around with guns in the States. Although very normal and legal there, very shocking for me to see being from Canada, you know what I'm saying? Whether or not you agree with whatever it is, you have to respect that these things are viewed differently both personally and legally all over the world. I get where Dani was coming from in her tweets, and although it may have been her opinion, which she is entitled to, they did come off a little ignorant. Jeffree commenting like he has a leg to stand on is another story. To be clear, Jeffree did not follow Dani and Dani did not follow Jeffree at the time of Dani's initial tweets, which means that Jeffree sought out Dani's tweets to deliberately go after her. It's not like he saw her tweets in his timeline and decided to comment on them. He went out of his way to find her. That being said, Dani did not follow Jeffree either, so unless she went out of her way to see what he was tweeting about and then decided to subtweet him, I'd say a much more logical explanation would be that it was 420 the day prior to her tweets, and she was probably tweeting about the plethora of influencers posting photos smoking weed on social media that day. Now, I don't know if this is another case of Jeffree assuming that he's the center of the universe, therefore everyone must be subtweeting about him, or whether he just wanted to start shit, but people with good intentions don't start off a conversation by saying my grandma wants to tell you to shut the fuck up. Jeffree came to play. As I said earlier, this tweet was deleted and replaced by this one where he drags Bretman Rock into the situation. Someone who stays in his own lane and stays out of drama, yet Jeffree makes it seem like his response is a joint opinion shared between himself and Bretman. I mean, why involve someone else in your drama? Speak for your own messy self, dude. As for Jeffree bringing up Dani's past for simply having an opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this the same Jeffree who is constantly reiterating that he is still entitled to an opinion on matters despite his past? He literally says trying to deflect on my past to Dani while deflecting on her past. I just cannot take Jeffree seriously when he speaks on hypocrisy because he literally invented the word. And listen, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he isn't entitled to comment on Dani's posts, as we are all free to comment on each other's tweets. However, this did seem like a personal attack. I think being that Jeffree is in the business and obviously has extensive knowledge on the subject, if he utilized that knowledge to educate others, or Dani in this case, rather than making his argument personal, something productive could have come out of this. He of all people throwing someone's past in their face regardless of what their past is will probably go down as one of Jeffree's most hypocritical moments of 2018. As for Jeffree saying you were caught and tried to make excuses for your piece of shit behavior, your country should ban you from ever being around animals, the video I saw of you forgetting your dog was in a dark room still haunts me. I mean, I have no words. It's as though he's describing himself. I don't know if he lacks self-awareness or whether he actually thinks that people don't see through his projection. And listen, I'm not saying that Dani is an angel by any means, and I'm certainly not excusing the dog incident, but Jeffree Star of all people to be calling her out? I think not. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who are still haunted by the video of him pulling a woman's hair out and humiliating her in front of thousands of people. Just saying. In my opinion, is he entitled to comment on Dani's posts? Absolutely, but going at her the way he did when he's in a very similar situation was uncalled for. If you want people to stop using your past against you, practice what you preach, honey. Anyway, you guys, that is it for this video. As usual, I want to hear your thoughts on this situation. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys again soon in my next video. Bye!